All right, this podcast is for CNT140. We are looking at BidSpec podcast, looking at our catchment area. To start off with, I'm going to go to our content page and look for our BidSpec folder. And in here, I should be seeing, here's my BidSpec project files. Here's the overall general file. So if I scroll down a little bit further, here's my notes pages. Each week of class, additional notes will pop up here as we need them. So we're going to open up the site survey catchment area. Probably last week you walked through the building and started locating the rooms of the building. What rooms are classrooms, what rooms are labs, what rooms are bathrooms, those kinds of things. And we were trying to look for potential closet locations. Now that we have that, we can now move on to estimating the amount of cabling our building needs through something called a catchment area. I'm going to open this catchment area cable estimation document, and I should see this. And the very top reminds you that you've located the different rooms in your building. We've even located potential closets, and we now have a little feel for how the building's constructed. That is giving us a starting point for getting our game plan started for cabling our building. Now, before we dig into the next step, we need to remember a couple things. Twisted pair cabling can go 100 meters before it needs to be repeated or regenerated. Good, check. Number two, we also know the maximum distance for horizontal cabling is 90 meters. That's from the patch panel to the outlet desk, or patch panel to the desk. So when we start estimating cable distance, we're really looking at this from the closet out to the user. But we are going to estimate using a 50-meter distance. The reason being, we have to count for the cabling to go around corners, up a wall, I should say as it leaves the closet, it's got to go up the wall, above the ceiling, around corners, down the hall, over ducts, under ducts, around a corner, down the wall and into the outlet box. So we actually estimate a 50-meter radius from our closet out to a room to know anything in that 50-meter radius I should be able to cable from that closet. And here's the reason why. If I look at, this is actually a blocker building, but if I look at this building and say, this is my wiring closet, I'm not going to drag wire directly from the closet out to a room. It actually has to leave, go up the wall, out into the hallway, into a cable tray, down the hall, and then from the tray into the room, down the wall, and into outlet box. So I'm doing a lot of right angles. And because of that, I'm going to use about 40% more cable than if I just estimated distance from here to here. So when we do the 50-meter radius, what we're actually doing is saying, all right, here's my, I scrolled a little too far. Here's my building again. If I have this closet and I say, okay, this is a 50-meter radius, and I kind of strike an arc with a compass, if you will, anything in this 50-meter radius, I should be able to do what I just showed you up here, go out into the hall, down the tray, down the hall in a tray and into the room and cable that room. This closet should be able to service that room using the right angles of orthogonal cable routing is what it's called, using right angle cable routing into the rooms. So I'm going to take my map of my building and my potential wiring closets. I'm going to put a compass on and put a compass on the closet and strike an arc this 50-meter radius from there and go anything in that 50-meter radius, this closet should be able to serve. What this step is going to do is verify that this closet will work for the building, and also verify if I have duplicate closets, which one works better, two potential locations, which one works better, or if I do a 50-meter arc from a closet, will it actually cover the whole building, or do I need to end up using two closets? So this teeny little step only takes a minute or two, but it's going to allow me to know this closet would service this wing. It can't do this one, so I would need one over here to do this wing, and I would need one out here to do this wing. So it's going to allow me to very quickly check, yep, looks like this building needs 3 closets, and this closet services this wing, this one, this wing, and this wing kind of thing. That's what we're going to do. Once you've picked out potential closets, we're going to do this catchment area to verify it will service that wing or that building or whatever part of the building we're looking at. Once we do that, we now need to estimate our cable distance? Well, we can actually use a little math and estimation here and say, okay, if we measure from our closet out to a room, and we measure a straight line distance using a ruler, if we measure that distance and find out it's 100 feet, we know we're going to actually add about 40% more when I do the right angle. So that would be about 140 foot cable run to do that. That's still within the distance of the 100 meters max, or I should say 90 meters for horizontal cabling. That's still well within that distance to do that. So I can measure a straight line distance, add my 40%, and verify it's going to work. I can actually do that through using a spreadsheet where I'm having the spreadsheet do the math for me using this kind of thing here. I set up a spreadsheet where I'm using room number, room use. I measure the distance on the map in inches, have it calculate to feet for me. In the next column, add that 40%, multiply by the number of cable drops, and then, come up with a grand total of the amount of cabling I need for that room, and then down here do a total of the amount of cabling I need for the whole building, which is going to help me start ordering my equipment. Well, let's do that step. I'm going to minimize my notes here, and I'm going to open up and create a spreadsheet to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my hack. I'm going to go to the Google Apps. You should have a link up top here. It goes to Google Apps. I'm going to open up my drive. This is going to open my Google Drive, and you have access to this as a student now using your, my hack or your Hawkmail email, if you will. I created a folder for myself. You can do a new folder here. I created one for 140. I open that guy up, and I actually have 2 sample files in here. Here's a sample map. We'll get to this in another podcast, but I'll show you real quickly. Here's my sample map. Here's my closet, horizontal cabling leaving, going down the hall and into rooms. Okay, so here's roughly how I'm going to cable my building. I just started this side over here. What I want to do now is be able to do a spreadsheet where I measure from this closet out to this room and have it calculate the distance for me and how much cabling I need. So I'm going to close that guy. Here's my sample spreadsheet. Here's what it's going to end up looking like. Well, let's create a new one, and I'll show you exactly how to do this. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to say new. I'm going to do Google Sheets. This is a Google spreadsheet, if you will. I'll give it a title up top here. I just click on this. I'm going to do CNT140. Try it again. There we go. Let's do CNT140. BidSpec, spreadsheet, something like that. And this is my second one, so I'm going to say version 2, just so I know them apart. On the top here, let's make a couple headings. I'm going to start off with like room number. Next to it, I'll do like room use. That's going to be a classroom, lab room kind of thing. So if I come down here, 101, 102, 103 kind of thing, this would be indicating classroom, lab room, office kind of thing. Next one, I want to do my map distance, what I measure on my map. Map distance, and I'm just going to put a reminder in here that this is in inches. What I measured on the map in inches. Now, I'm going to highlight the top row here, the whole row, and let's make it bold. Let's adjust it so it's center adjustment here. And I want to word wrap this stuff, so I'm going to go to Format. I'm going to go to text wrapping and wrap my text, and that's going to wrap it so it all fits in that cell. Good. And actually, I might do this too. I think I'm going to center justify all this stuff. That way it's all nice and pretty from the get-go. All right. So I measure on my map. Let's say I measure 1.5 inches and 1.75 inches kind of thing. Okay. I want to convert this to feet. So we want to say real distance, and I'm going to put a reminder here of feet. So this cell here, I'm going to calculate my measured map distance into real feet. Well, if you look at your map, the map itself has, actually I'll open this guy up too, why not? On the bottom of your map it says 1 inch equals 32 feet. So on my spreadsheet, all I really need to do is take this distance, multiply by 32, and put it over here, and it will give me the real distance in feet. So to do that, I'm going to say equals whatever's in this cell. I'm just going to highlight the cell, so plop C2 in there, and I'm going to do asterisk to multiply by 32 feet. So it's now taking this, multiplying by 32 feet, and putting the actual real distance here in feet. I'm going to copy this formula down to all the other cells. I'm going to drag this little square here, drag it down, and it's going to copy that formula into all the other cells. That way, as I start measuring 2.0, 2.25, 2.5, it's continually doing the calculations for me. So let's say this was 104 and 104, 105 kind of thing down the line. Office, okay? This is going to convert my map distance in inches into feet. Great. We now need to account for this right angle thing. As I leave the closet, go down the hall and into a room, I'm using 40% more cabling. So I need to add that 40% on. So what I'm going to do here is let's do actual distance or something like that. Actual distance, where I'm going to add 40%, something of that nature. So to do that, I'm going to take equals whatever's in this cell, and I'm going to add 40%. So I'm not going to, multiply by 0.4. I'm actually going to multiply by 1.4, 140%. I'm going to take 100% whatever's there and add 40% more, 0.4, 40% more. So I will do that, and that's adding the 40%. Again, I'm going to, grab this little square in the corner, drag it down. It's going to copy that formula down for me. So there I've added the 40%. The next thing I need to do is I need to indicate the quantity of drops for a room. Quantity of drops for room. Again, we're going to learn later that a classroom is getting 2, lab room is getting 30, offices are getting 2. So this is just a hard code number to reflect the room use here. Okay. And now I need a total distance for the room. Total cable needed for room, or something of that nature. And again, maybe I'll put behind here a reminder of this is in feet. So I know what my distances are. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to say equals whatever this total is. I'm going to click on that cell, asterisk for multiply, click on this cell. So it's taking this E2 multiplied by F2. It's taking those two cell contents and multiplying them together. I'll hit the enter key, and that's now saying, okay, if I need a 67 feet for one drop times 2, I need 134 feet. I'll click that cell. I will grab this little square corner, drag it down, and again, it's copying that formula down to all the cells below it. Awesome. I now have my rooms, what I measured on the map in inches, if you will, and calculated into real feet, adding 40%, multiplying by the number of drops for that room to give me the grand total of cable that I need for that room. All I would need to do is get my map out, start measuring distances from center of the closet to center of room. Okay, center of closet to center of room, because some drops will be shorter, some will be longer, so we're kind of doing the average. Center of closet to center of room. Once I measure that distance, I put it here. This is going to calculate all the rest for me. So I really only need to put the, room use, distance on here, and the quantity here, and the rest of this is calculating it for me. When I'm all done, I'm going to come down here. Actually, let me delete just a couple cells down here. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put total cable for closet, total cable needed, or something like that. Again, I will do a bold on this guy. I'm going to do a word wrap, format, wrapping, word wrap, okay. And I'm going to put another one down here that says total boxes needed. That's going to give me a total boxes of cable that I need for my building. Again, format, wrap my text. Okay. So what I'm going to do here in this cell is I'm going to click my little, where is he up here? He's got to be up here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Should be under more. I'm looking for the sum sign, this little squash D. I'm going to click on him, do a sum. I'm going to click and drag all these cells that I want to add together, hit the enter key. It's going to tally it all for me. So I need, 3,000 feet of cable. Below that, I'm going to take equals, divide this by 1,000, because cable comes in boxes that are 1,000 feet. and that will give me the number of boxes of cable I need for my entire building. This is the spreadsheet you'll need to create, and you'll need to sit down and fill in your rooms and your distances and start calculating up the number of feet that you need.